Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Foods Podcast. Today is Friday, the 4th of September, year 2020. Today's topic is God will restore your lost years. God will restore your lost years. And that is good news because, when years' time pass, you just cannot get them back. It's gone and it's gone. If you're 20 years old now, you can't get the last 15, 18 years of your life back and it graduates. If you're 30, you can't get the last 20 years. If you're 40, you cannot get the last 30 years. But God is able to restore. And how do we mean restore? You don't have to actively go back to those years and live those years again. But all the things you should have achieved, acquired, the growth, the impact that you should have made within those years that you were not able to make, God can make you, achieve them and gain them and regain them within a shorter period of time in your present time. So if you've lost like 10 years, and for example, you're 30 years old now, you've lost 10 years, you're not at the point or the level that you're meant to be. God can make you overachieve, that within a space of 3-4 years, you would even surpass what you would have achieved or attained or gained in the last 10 years. We'll go into the Holy Book of God, the scriptures, the Bible. And of course, we'll be looking at this very popular Bible verse, which talks about God restoring all the years that has been lost. So we're looking at the book of Joel chapter 2, and I'll read from verse 25. And it says, this is God speaking to the children of Zion. When we look at 23, God was saying, "Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain and the latter rain in the first month. And the floors shall be full of wheat, and the vats shall overflow with wine and oil." And then verse 25 says, "And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the Kankawam and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you." And verse 26 says, "And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed." This is so satisfying. This is so reassuring that God will restore to you the years that you have lost. Have you lost years? Have you lost time? Don't you worry. God that sees the end from the beginning will restore unto you those years, those time, those losses. And he would even bless you more than what you can ever dream or imagine. And when he has restored unto you all those losses, God says, "You then shall eat in plenty." And it doesn't stop there, "and you will be satisfied." And it does not stop there, "and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who hath dealt wondrously with you." Because it would amaze people. When you suffer losses, people look down on you either with pity or with, "Oh, you're a failure," or not forgetting, or rather forgetting that the story is not over, the journey is not over. We're still in this journey of life. It's not over until God says it's time to come home. So you do not know what can happen tomorrow. Nobody knows tomorrow except God. Even if God reveals certain things about your future to you, you still do not know the very minute details, So I just want to tell you and encourage you that don't you worry. God, who is our creator, the I am that I am, says he's going to restore all those years that have been lost. And the funniest thing, it's not just one type of insect or being that has, made you lose those years. If you read the Bible, the Bible verse you just read, it says, The years that the locust has eaten, that's number 1. The cankerworm, number 2. The caterpillar, number 3. The palmer worm, number 4. I'm just going to give us a brief background, or just to let us know what these living beings, so to speak, are. So let's start with the locust. The locust is a large, mainly tropical grasshopper with strong powers of flight. It's a short-horned grasshopper, and it is a migratory grasshopper for that matter, because it often travels. We all know they travel in vast swarms, and as they travel, they strip the areas past of all vegetation. That is the locust. And then we move to the cankerworm. Now, the cankerworm is a form of caterpillar, and what the cankerworm can do is that the cankerworm consumes the buds and leaves of trees, and it can be a major pest. That is the cankerworm. Okay? And then from the cankerworm, we move to the caterpillar. So the caterpillar is a small, long animal with many legs that feeds on the leaves of plants. It's a worm-like animal, that feeds on plants and eventually develops into a butterfly or a moth. We can say it's the larva of a butterfly or moth. Okay, that's the caterpillar. And then we look at the palmer worm. The palmer worm is a caterpillar that suddenly appears in great numbers, devouring herbage. Now, I would like us to really understand and grasp what it means to suffer losses by, you suffer losses or suffer years that the locust has eaten, the cankerworm has eaten, the caterpillar has eaten, the palmer worm has eaten. Do you know what that means? That means you've been stripped bare even beyond bones, so to speak. I want us to look, we're going to be reading from Joel chapter 1, just to let us understand what it means for all these tiny things. They're tiny, yet they cause major havoc and damage, for some irreparable. Now, Joel chapter 1, I read from verse 1. It says, "The word of the Lord that came to Joel the son of Pethuel, hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Hath this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation." Now the verse I'm going to, verse 4. It says, "That which the palmer worm hath left, hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath left, hath the caterpillar eaten." Now my question is, what are they eating? When the palmer worm has eaten, whatever the palmer worm has left is what the locust will eat. And we know that the locust is a migrating grasshopper that just devours everything. So the palmer worm suddenly appears in great numbers, and they devour herbage. So when the palmer worm has devoured all the herbage, whatever that is left, if there is anything left, the locust will eat. And we know that the locust is a short-horned grasshopper, and they migrate, they travel in vast swarms, and they strip the areas that they pass of all vegetation. Now the palmer worm devours all herbage. Whatever is left over, the locust will come, and the locust strips the areas that it passes of all vegetation. And then we say that whatever the locust had left, the cankerworm will now eat. And the cankerworm is a caterpillar which consumes the buds and leaves of trees, and it can be a major pest. And when the cankerworm has filled itself, if it even finds anything, left from the locust, the caterpillar will now eat as well. And we know that the caterpillar is the larva of a butterfly or a moth. It's a worm-like animal, and it feeds on plants. Now, just imagine the damage, the havoc, the distress, the shame this has brought upon so many of us. We have lost years. Why? Because the locust, the Kankawam, the palmer worm, and the caterpillar have devoured, destroyed, stripped everything. And you're wondering, can I ever rise again? Can it ever be well? Can it be well with me again? And God is saying to you and I, don't you worry, my son. Don't you worry, my daughter. My daughter, the child or the children of Zion. You are the children of Zion. And God is saying to you, you rejoice in him. God says, rejoice in the Lord your God. Why? Because he will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten, the years that the cankerworm has eaten, the years that the caterpillar has eaten, the years that the palmer worm has eaten. What is the locust in your life? Is it illness? Is it sickness? Is it financial disgrace? Is it childlessness? What is the cankerworm in your life? Is it reproach? Is it shame? Is it the fact that they've looked down on you, that you amount to no good? What is the caterpillar in your life? Is it stagnation? Is it toiling hard and you're not seeing anything for it? What is the palmer worm in your life? Is it deceit? Is it people disappointing you? What is it? Whatever name that the enemy has given to you, God is saying to you that he will restore all those years to you. And not just that, you will eat in plenty. That means you'll be in abundance. You'll be wealthy. And not just that, you'll be satisfied. You can eat in plenty and yet still not be satisfied. But God is saying you will be satisfied. And apart from that, he said, when you are satisfied, you will praise the name of the Lord your God. Why? Because God would have dealt wondrously with you. And when God deals wondrously with a person, it's not just for that person, but it's to showcase the glory, the might, and the power of God. And you'll be a wonder unto many. God will showcase you to the world, because why? He would have dealt wondrously with you. My prayer is that God will deal wondrously with you. All those years would not be years that will be lost anymore, but you will recover them and you would continue to move up and progress in the mighty name of Jesus. So have a wonderful day, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you in the next episode of the Foods Podcast. God bless you. Shalom.